The country music industry wouldn't be the same without living legend Loretta Lynn. But before she became a country star, she was a housewife in Custer, Washington. Saying that Loretta Lynn's life has been extraordinary would be an understatement. She married at 15 and welcomed her first child at 16 many years before making it big as an artist. Lynn signed her first contract in 1960 when she already had 4 children. She ended up raising 6, but her 2 oldest passed away sooner than expected. Loretta Lynn's road to motherhood. The IMA honky-tonk girl singer married Oliver Doolittle Vanetta in 1948 even though she was only 15 years old and they had known each other for only a month. That November, they welcomed their first child, Betty. By the time Lynn was 20 years old, she and her talent manager husband were already raising 4 children: Betty, Jack, Sissy, and Ernest. Lynn would stay home with the kids while Vanetta worked, but they barely had enough money to make ends meet. Their lives changed after Vanetta heard Lynn singing while doing chores around the house. He noticed she was talented and bought her a guitar. Lynn taught herself to play it and joined the Trailblazers in the late 1950s. In 1960, they participated in a televised contest in Tacoma, Washington. Lynn's performance was so outstanding that Zero Records co-founder Norm Burley offered her a contract. 4 years later, when Lynn had already become one of the best-selling female artists in country music, she welcomed twins Peggy and Patsy. Lynn once admitted she felt sorry for her younger kids and explained, "Fortunately, Lynn's children became successful individuals, but her 2 eldest faced untimely deaths." Here are the details of the lives and careers of Vanetta and Lynn's kids. Betty Sue Lynn, her mother's big friend, died too soon. Lynn's oldest daughter, Betty, was born in Washington in 1948 and became the shortest baby in the hospital's history. While pregnant, the country music star was sure Betty would be a boy and was ready to name her Jack. When Lynn learned that she was having a girl, she cried, thinking Vanetta would be disappointed. Luckily, he was glad they had a girl. Lynn had such a strong connection with Betty that she could tell if her daughter was sick or happy from her dreams. Like her mother, Betty married when she was still a teenager. The lucky one was Paul Marquardt, and they welcomed 2 daughters, Loretta and Audrey. Over the years, Betty improved her songwriting skills and wrote a few songs for her mother with Tracy Lee as her alias, including Love's Not Where Love Should Be and Ain't It Funny. Sadly, Betty passed away on July 29, 2013, due to complications from emphysema. She was 64. In 2021, Lynn opened up about her daughter's untimely passing, saying she sometimes picked up her phone to call her. The country star's first son died tragically. Lynn and Vanetta's second son, Jack, was born in December 1949. After graduating high school, he joined the Army and married his sweetheart, Pat. Before Jack and Pat parted ways, they welcomed 2 children, Laura and Jeffrey. Jack eventually worked as a blacksmith and trained horses on the family ranch in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Sadly, things took a tragic turn on July 24, 1984. Jack tried to cross the Duck River on his horse, but he fell, hit his head, and drowned. Lynn, who admitted she felt the most sentimental about Jack, learned he died the next day. Lynn described him as a quiet and tender person and admitted he and Betty got into everything when they were kids. The country music star pointed out that her 2 eldest children reunited in heaven. The wild side of Loretta Lynn's second son. Vanetta and Lynn wanted to have more children after Jack was born, but she suffered 2 miscarriages. Eventually, she became pregnant with Ernest, but giving birth to him was challenging. After a long labor, doctors considered a C-section was necessary. Since Lynn was still a minor, she could not sign her consent for the procedure. The hospital would only accept Vanetta's permission, but he was on a logging job in Washington and couldn't be contacted. Luckily, Lynn didn't need the C-section to welcome Ernest in May 1951. Although he is sweet and handsome, He had a wild side as a kid and would frequently get into car wrecks. In 2003, Ernest was charged with DUI and vehicular homicide after hitting a post. His passenger, Larry Claxton, passed away. Ernest pleaded not guilty to the homicide charge. Nowadays, he is a singer who opens for Lynn. He and his wife, Crystal, renewed their vows in August 2020 and Lynn was there to show support. In an Instagram post, she wished them years of happiness and wrote, "Sissy didn't have a name for 4 years. Clara Marie, best known as Sissy, was born in April 1952, but her parents needed 4 years to name her. Vanetta refused to officially name her because a nurse insisted on providing a name before leaving the hospital." Sissy is a singer and songwriter married to John Beans, also a musician. The couple has opened for famous artists, including Conway Twitty and George Jones. In 2011, Lynn worked as a producer for the first time. It was an album of her covers featuring Sissy, and Lynn was so proud about it that she admitted, after having Sissy, Lynn was sure she would not conceive more children. In 1963, though, she learned she was pregnant. It was devastating because Lynn was a rising star and feared her pregnancy would affect her career. Twins Patsy and Peggy joined the brood in August 1964, and they soon became a blessing in Lynn's life. The country music legend learned that having money made motherhood easier. The twins became the most successful musicians out of Lynn's 6 children. Patsy confessed she and her twin sister grew up on the side of the stage, so a music career was not a dream but a fact. Still, Patsy and Peggy liked different aspects of the industry. Nowadays, Patsy is also working as a producer. She has already made over 100 songs for Lynn, and she recognizes her mom as a living legend. What a talented family!